All right, guys, it's been an interesting week. Obviously, the news has been dominated by everything that's been going on with Zillow and all the reaction to it. I've had a lot of people reach out to me to get my feedback on it, just based on some of the videos that we put out over the last couple weeks, and really try to figure out what our thoughts are on how this affects the Phoenix market moving forward, if there's any effect at all, if there's going to be a crash. All the stuff, there's a lot of opinions out there that we're hearing. So we're going to try to navigate that, kind of get into thoughts on what people are saying versus what I think is actual reality right now and how this affects us moving forward. So if you are living in Phoenix or thinking about moving to Phoenix and you want to know how that might affect you, then stay tuned. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. Obviously, a lot to unpack here. I'm going to try to keep it as clear and concise as possible, try to stay on point. There's just so much information that we've seen this week that you can definitely go off on a couple different tangents, but I'm going to try to stay to what you guys really need to know and how does that affect us, or how does all of this Zillow news affect us going forward, especially here in the Phoenix market. Might be something that hits you in another market as well, depending on where you're at and how big of a player that Zillow was in your market. So let's quickly just kind of rewind a little bit back to a couple weeks ago where we had the news come out regarding Zillow pausing its home buying business. That led me to do a video kind of talking about what Zillow was saying versus what we're seeing here on the streets of Phoenix, and primarily just seeing that Zillow was completely overpaying for a lot of their properties. That was kind of the message that I had a couple weeks ago in my video. Zillow was saying something different. And then obviously we get different news when it came to, I think this was released on Sunday or Monday, regarding Zillow basically trying to sell off this 7,000 homes for $2.8 billion. I did the math on that today. That averages about $400,000 a house. But then the news just kept on going from there. We had, especially here in Phoenix, Zillow is selling 93% of the Phoenix homes that they had for less than what they paid for. We'll dive into that a little bit as well. And then Zillow shutting down its home buying business completely and laying off 25% of its employees. What else do we got here? Zillow to stop flipping and losing more than $550 million. So it just, the news keeps going on and on and on regarding everything that's going on with Zillow. So how does this affect, Phoenix in general, the Arizona market? Because if you guys are watching this, you're probably looking at some of the other people on YouTube out there that have a lot of opinions on this, many with a lot bigger channels than what I have here. And I watch some of that same thing too. I know a lot of people are out there still predicting this big real estate crash. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I think there's people that are like, hey, Zillow sees the writing on the wall that the market is going to go in a different direction, and now they're smart enough to bail on this and try to unload these properties before we go south in the housing market. That seems pretty silly to me. If anybody thinks Zillow's smart enough to see the future ahead, then they should have been smart enough to not actually do what they've done over the past 6 months, which is completely overpay for properties with no reasoning whatsoever, except somebody in their company has an algorithm that they think makes sense. I don't understand that one bit. For us moving forward, we're still going to have a lot of Zillow homes that are going to be listed for sale. I think what I'm trying to figure out and what I want to see kind of going forward, because when we got that news regarding them trying to sell off 7,000 homes for the $2.8 billion that they're looking for, what does that mean? Who does that go to? Is that going to institutional investors? Are those going to be turning into rentals? That eliminates a lot of the inventory from the market around, here it's about 5% of our active listings is what Zillow currently has. If they sell off those to institutional investors and cancel those listings and decide not to sell that on the open market, that takes our supply down even lower. that causes more stress on the buy side of the market, which again pushes prices up a little bit or keeps pushing prices up a little bit. So if they continue to keep these properties on the market and then reduce the prices as they keep doing, because they keep reducing prices down to even what's our market is for 2020 or for 2021 this year, and sell them at what it should go for. Yes, it's going to be a lot less than what they paid for it, but it's still going to be market value of what we're seeing currently here, and still probably increasing the pricing on an overall basis. So there's a lot to see here. I think the negative from a market perspective for anybody who's saying, hey, this could cause a downward trend in the market. There's going to be a point where people maybe start pushing back, or if interest rates go up, or affordability just gets to the point where people just start pushing back. I think this demand situation from normal buyers could cause a downward trend in the market overall. So we're going to just have to see how that plays out. There's still a lot of investor-driven demand in this market, so we're seeing that quite a bit. But I want to jump into the stats on the MLS too, just so you guys can kind of take a look at that. I think this is kind of important to look at from a perspective of what the current percentage of listings that the iBuyers have. So if we're looking at, and again, I'll kind of break this down into, this is Maricopa and Pinal County active listings. I've got all three iBuyers here. Currently, Zillow has 271 active listings on the market. And then if we add in OfferPad and Opendoor, they currently have a total of 1,002 listings on the market. I like to actually just do this under 800,000. If you do that, they don't have a whole lot of properties that are over that $800,000 mark. So if you put that cap on there, it's 983. Now, if you come over here and you look at the total homes listed on the MLS, and that includes all the iBuyers, we've got, and this is Maricopa and Pinal County for anybody that wants to know. That's 6737 total active listings. If you do that list price cap at 800,000, you got 5469. You do the math on that, and that means the iBuyers still have about 18% of our total active listings on the market. So that is something I think that we should continue to track, and I want to keep sharing with everybody, because I think that's kind of an important stat to kind of know whether or not the iBuyers are actually having an effect on us as a whole. Because as long as the three of them as a whole have that big a percentage of our active listings, I do think they have a way to indirectly manipulate the prices. So we'll see how that plays out going forward. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Crawford Report as well. I think many of you might be familiar with the Crawford Report. We talk about it a lot on this channel. I know it's been shared on other channels as well. This is kind of our go-to when it comes to looking at the biggest predictors and stats when it comes to our housing market. They do a great job of providing this information. It's what we use to kind of guide people in the right direction. So if we look at their market index right now, it's actually trending a little bit upward again, now at 348. We look at the supply. Again, the supply is extremely low historically. The demand is actually creeping up a little bit. So that'll be interesting to watch. And, we've kind of been, the index right around it's at 348 again today. It's been kind of sitting in between 350 and 345 the last 2.5 to 3 months. If you look at some of the indicators here, all of these green arrows indicate still a seller's market. So at this point, we're not seeing any signs of a letdown when it comes to the seller's market yet. I think there's definitely a lot of things that we're going to kind of watch for when it comes to just the number of properties out there that I think just look overpriced, don't seem to be that great, versus the number of homes. If anything that's nice and hits the market, it still has plenty of offers. It probably has offers going over list price, that type of thing. And so that's going to keep pushing the market in a positive direction when it comes to the sellers. The only thing that could kind of push this the other way, and that we're going to have to watch for this, is interest rates going up, an increased amount of supply. So we're not sure exactly what could cause an increase in supply. That would be tricky to kind of navigate unless we see a downward trend in the market, which pushes some of these investors that are holding these properties as rentals or maybe short-term rentals, any kind of potential downward trend in the overall financial markets that push people that have investments in the real estate market. That's the only thing I can see, from my point of view, that could push people to try to list their homes. So it'll be interesting to kind of keep track of. I can't see this crazy increase in pricing appreciation continuing to go up as much as it has had like that. I don't think it's sustainable. I think that we're going to get into more of a normal seller's market. That seems to be what makes the most sense. That means we're going to have an increase in a little bit of inventory, not a ton of inventory. We're going to have an increase in a little bit of inventory. I think people are going to push back on home prices that are way too high, that just don't make sense at all. And that's going to cause the appreciation in pricing to be a little bit more limited than what we're seeing right now, but still continue to go up. That seems to be the most logical from what we're seeing right now. So, for anybody who's looking and wants to know that they're not buying in and have it crash soon, I just don't see any kind of indicators unless some sort of crazy catastrophic event happens that crashes the entire financial market, which, who knows these days, but that would be the only thing in my mind that could cause a major shift in the real estate market. So, again, share your opinion. I want to hear what you guys are thinking too, what you think. I mean, when I look at all these videos, and especially the videos that are predicting these crashes, and everybody's like, hey, the prices have gone way too high, it's overpriced, we're going to see a crash soon. Again, I get that the prices, especially with what Zillow has done, they have, their listings and some of the iBuyer listings, will have to keep an eye on what happens with Opendoor too, because I think Opendoor overpaid for quite a few properties over the last quarter. I haven't really seen too much from OfferPad. They seem to be a little bit more conservative, so we'll see how that works out on that too. But I'm having a tough time trying to figure out what could cause a massive decline in pricing, but I also don't see it continue to go up that much either. I see it stabilizing, kind of plateauing, hitting a point where hopefully we can get back to a normal market where you're not having to deal with completely over or a complete crazy amount of multiple offers on homes. And then the homes that are overpriced, you can come in and put an offer that makes more sense, that's based on what real value should be versus some of these inflated prices. So it's going to be interesting. Again, give me your comments below. Reach out to me. I appreciate everybody who's reached out over the past couple weeks to kind of discuss what we've gone over here. Obviously, we're getting a lot of people checking out the channel and seeing what's going on with the percentages of what the iBuyers have and what they're doing to the market. But we're going to keep an eye on this for you guys. We're going to hopefully keep you updated as much as we can with anything that's any major changes that are happening. Again, feel free to reach out to us anytime. We are here to help you and to guide you when it comes to, trying to figure out, number one, where to live here in the Phoenix area. That's the goal of this channel overall. We're definitely turning into kind of a market update type of thing here too, but it's super important for obviously anybody who's either looking to move to the area or currently living here as well and trying to figure out the best way to navigate it. So we appreciate the support, you guys. Reach out to us. And until next time, we'll catch you on the next video.